You see that there? See that? There's going to be a little overlay. I took myself out. There we go. Let's go right back into it. We are live. It is welcome everyone. Saturday, September 18th. Like I promised you, on the J&J Talk Show, we are actually here live, and I have a special guest host for you today. And Trey. And Trey has been our sponsor, has been our big promoter for the last ever from day one. So thank you for everything you've done. You check yourself out on TikTok. So Trey, really fast though, maybe explain what exactly how you're promoting it, what you're promoting from our show in that sense. It kind of how is your promotion going?
So basically, I'm making TikToks, promoting the show, getting people to watch it. You don't know what that is? It's J&J Talk Show on TikTok. I've been sharing it on Facebook, Instagram, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's been pretty good.
So we got Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Right? Twitter, kind of all the 9 yards. Obviously, we have our talk show on YouTube TV and on Facebook, on YouTube, on the J&J Talk Show, and then we have ourselves on Facebook. We have a Facebook page that I encourage you guys to check out too. That's the J&J Talk Show at Facebook. So Trey's been doing a tremendous job helping us promote, making videos, getting ourselves out there. The way I see it is that we could have thousands and thousands of views, but if we out of those thousands of views, if one could follow, like, share, subscribe, whatever, and that's a win day. Right. So we are actually streaming live from a different location. Obviously, you can see from the background. So bear with us. I apologize for any delay in the audio or video content because where we're at with internet wise, but we're going to do the best we can. I still believe that going live is the best thing to do. Right. So I know you've been promoting this live show. I'm very excited to be able to have this live show with you. And our main topic that we're going to discuss today, as I mentioned a couple of days ago, is the match card for Extreme Rules that's coming up September 26th, 2021. At the Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio. So if you guys needing something to do next weekend, next Sunday, you could tune into it. You could tune in actually on Peacock.
The show starts at 7. The actual show starts at 8.
Exactly. And there, we'll get into it, but there's a lot of matches going into Extreme Rules. Maybe not the best Fallout pay-per-view regarding SummerSlam. Right. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But Trey, I wanted to also just quickly talk about not only you're promoting our stuff, but in the local community, you're taking part of a special event that only comes around once a year that has actually been blowing up over the last decade, more so than a lot of other people consider. And a lot of people don't know about this, but every local community nationwide, you see the World Olympics, and then they have the Special Olympics, and you're taking a part of the Special Olympics community, right?
Right.
And so kind of explain that. Do they have? So you're into bowling. That's what you're doing.
So I've been a part of Special Olympics since 2011. I first started off playing basketball. I played it all the way up until 2020, and then my disability kept me from playing, so I had to, retire from basketball, and I'm now the team manager for my team, which my job is to basically hype them up, make sure they're doing the right thing as the actual coach says that they're doing. And
are you still participating?
I am.
Are you actually bowling too with everyone else, or?
So I started with basketball. I did flag football. I did 1 year of that. I was a backup quarterback. And now 2014, I started doing bowling. And now my bowling season just started last Monday. So this coming Monday, I get to go bowl again. And next month is my regional tournament. So hopefully I win a regional championship.
So this is so you're doing bowling. They have other sports for the Special Olympics. Yeah. This is a community thing, though. We see nationwide they have Special Olympics worldwide. People could do, but a lot of people don't know or not aware, don't follow is the Special Olympics community wise. They did that. They did that over in San Diego when I lived in San Diego. They have Special Olympics for the community, and it doesn't get as much appreciation around town or locally than it does. So, is there a way? So obviously, COVID is a concern. You guys are more of an isolated entity doing the Special Olympics, but because of COVID, you can't have any fan base to support. Is there a way to still follow along the progress that during the Special Olympics around here to still support, or how would they be able to support if they want to support?
Well, there is a Special Olympics fundraiser stuff all over Facebook. I will give it to Justin here to upload on Facebook.
Yeah, upload it on TikTok, Instagram. Send me the link. I'll put it up on Facebook. Is there a way to watch you guys though?
I mean, we're not really like televised or whatever. We would have to physically get our phones out or cameras out to record.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that would be something interested to consider. Maybe you could bring that up as we grow within the talk show. You guys do this every year, right? Maybe something to talk about on getting it on a YouTube stream, so that people locally could, tune in, with Mondays and whatnot, tune into some of these matchups. I mean, you could go to what? FS1 or ESPN or whatnot, and a Sports Center, and watch late night PBA, football, all that stuff, all the, wrestling, all that stuff is on late night shows on televised. It's always a great way. So maybe we could figure something out for next year where we can maybe make it where now we could support by also providing a video content for everyone, because it is a big deal. There's a lot of people that have disabilities, a lot of people that have problems, complications, and so we want to be supportive. So let me go in here for a second. Just bear with me. There we go. Is that better? I just was told that there was a green screen effect. What about that? Yeah, I know why. Because I was accidentally pushed on or something. Okay, so hopefully that's fixed in my studio. Let me know. Okay. Is there a delay in the audio? I guess that's the only question I want to find out now. Oh, while we wait for that to happen. So yeah, we'll figure. Hopefully, we could talk and figure something out a little later. Maybe something for next year, better. But if you are tuning this in, no matter where you're at in this world, especially in the United States. I know they really fixate themselves and they pay attention to, Special Olympics and the games that they do. And there's a lot more games than just what you would, normally find out, so
Right.
there's a lot of opportunities, and there should be a way to maybe promote that and get that aired every year, because that is a big thing.
Right. Especially, regionals. It's a big thing.
So, but we thank you for having her on. Hopefully, this becomes a more repetitive thing each and every week as we, maybe get ready into the fallout of Crown Jewel coming up next month. Survivor Series coming up in November. And with his promotion, hopefully, you guys are now. We'll get you on quite more, and we'll be able to, talk a lot more professional wrestling, and hell, maybe some other stuff too. So, anyways, this is Trey. Like I said, he will be joining us periodically here. Possibly also a opportunity to be a fill-in. So if one of us are not able to do the show at one time, you could fill in as a kind of backup as me and Justin go along throughout this the rest of the year and so forth, making these videos. So Survivor Series next Sunday, September 26th. I got that correct. I know I got hassled on not Survivor Series. See, I'm going to mess up. I get the dates right, but I mess up on the show. Extreme Rules. Yeah, I'm already looking for Survivor Series. That's how much I don't want to watch Extreme Rules, to be honest. But yes, Extreme Rules, September 26th, nationwide arena in Columbus, Ohio. And we're going to talk about the match card that is confirmed already. We know that there's possibilities of other matches coming into place. But out of 4 weeks of Raw and SmackDown, okay, and there's been a big difference in separation between what Raw puts up for product and what SmackDown puts up for product, and some of it has to do with SmackDown being on Fox. Okay, agreed upon.
Yep.
They have still, there's only 6 matches shown for this pay-per-view coming up next Sunday. And not one of the things, it's more so nothing's progressed out of the 4 weeks of watching professional wrestling in the sports of WWE. Back, and Raw really teased us, really has had the worst of it. But you had the belief that Sheamus was going to go after Bobby Lashley was it going to be the next person in line.
Right.
That gets shut down very quickly. No explanation. It just gets shut down. And it turns into Randy.
Yeah,
Randy Orton.
I would have loved that Sheamus and Bobby Lashley.
Absolutely. I would have loved the Sheamus and Bobby Lashley too. I mean, with Drew not being able to have another title opportunity moving towards, as long as Bobby has, the championship, we have Sheamus the next person in line. And out of anyone in the roster, Randy Orton's tied up on the tag team situation, and that's fine. Keep that separate. But with Priest having the United States Championship, with Sheamus is the only person, after getting rid of Braun Strowman and releasing Bray Wyatt, there's no one else in line who would be worthy enough to get a push. And we don't know what the future is for Sheamus, obviously,
right.
But this would be something that would be exciting and promising. Okay, I would tune into Extreme Rules to watch this match. But for 4 weeks, they went back and forth. That was just week 1. Week 2, they move on to tag team, and then they go, then they had the turmoil match on week 3, and then they go back to the same stuff on week 4 again. So nothing happens in the last 4 weeks on Raw.
Yeah, they're not making sense with the Bobby Lashley situation.
And what really brings, and it's not just in the Bobby Lashley situation. We heard that MVP got hurt. I don't know how part of the storyline that is. Hopefully he's doing okay. If he is seriously injured. But then even like the Raw tag, I mean, that this whole last 3 weeks between Randy Orton and Bobby Lashley, this has done nothing to move forward the AJ Styles and Omos tag team division.
Right.
You know, we were talking, over the last few weeks of the possibility of AJ and Omos splitting up. And with all that being said, you don't see that much. When is that going to happen? Right. Extreme Rules kind of painted the picture to some of these storylines taking separation. And that's just on Raw side. I think the only thing coming out of Raw here is the Raw Women's Championship, right? Mm-hmm. And Damian Priest and Sheamus, which, we go back to SummerSlam where Priest beat Sheamus. Does he not get an title match reclause anyways? But yet again, he had to fight his way and defeat Drew McIntyre just to get another opportunity. We saw that again in Bianca Belair.
Yep.
We saw that against AJ and Omos, and they're still out of the picture. And so we go into the final week before Extreme Rules, and we have that same issue where nothing is being told. And now you got to, the question is that there's 6 matches set for Extreme Rules. But is those 6 matches good enough? Are they going to add a 7th match? Or, possibility? Great. But what type of match are you going to add? On top of that, we talked about this prior to going live. There's no stipulation
to make it extreme,
to make it exciting. You talk about Extreme Rules, you talk about tables, ladders, chairs, no holds barred, steel cage, last man standing, stretcher matches, Iron Man matches, nothing to make it worth fighting for.
Right.
And you might just call this WWE pay-per-view at this point. So, and then like I said, on SmackDown side, we go to the SmackDown side. Okay, one of the reasons SmackDown is so booming than Raw right now, like I said, I feel that it has to do with being on Fox. A month ago, I broke this open. A month ago, I discovered that there were several locations around the United States that did not air the SmackDown before SummerSlam because of Week 1 preseason football. And they highlighted teams like I want to say Buffalo. Buffalo was part of it. Michigan did not air because they had preseason football. Well, Wisconsin. There's areas, those locations that did not air. Or Michigan was one of the teams because of the Detroit Lions. And so the fact that Fox rather show preseason football rather than showing SmackDown, which is live, preseason that has nothing to do with the regular season, to show and instead of showing SmackDown that's live right before their pay-per-view, you have to step up your game.
Yeah.
And we even saw this. AEW had a great pay-per-view, and we thought for a moment that WWE was going to take notice of. We saw people like Mick Foley who came out and made statements about WWE's performance over the last couple of weeks, and they really need to step it up. So we thought for a moment, a couple of weeks ago, I think we mentioned that Vince McMahon came out the Monday after AEW's All Out. Vince McMahon holds a critical meeting, all that, story-based stuff. We thought we were going to see some fun stuff happening. But it could be anywhere but true. But the only reason why SmackDown's so great is because you got Roman Reigns, you got Brock Lesnar, you got Edge, Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio, Becky Lynch, all on Fox, though.
Now Demon and Balor.
Exactly. And so it's just how much of SmackDown success. You think SmackDown would have the same success, though, if they were on USA Network? No. A lot of it is because of Fox. You have to keep yourself at that bar for Fox, or else they're going to pull you.
Right.
So I wish USA would do that then for Raw and see if Raw. Right now, Raw is the sister show to SmackDown at this point. But we discussed coming up to Extreme Rules, like I said, last 4 weeks really has not done anything to move the storylines forward.
Right.
I mean, Finn Balor was something that was prior to SummerSlam that got put on, that they tried to push but put on hold because of John Cena, which was an epic failure. You had, now, the last 4 weeks, Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch has been going back and forth. Becky telling Bianca that she's a coward and she's not good enough. And Bianca's trying to, say, hey, that 30 seconds of fame, she got starstruck and now she'll be ready. You didn't do nothing. I mean, a matter of fact, week 1, Bianca had to defeat 4 of the women in order to get another title match, which then they moved out for the next 2 weeks of Becky not wanting to defend her title, which has ruined her reputation coming back from, childbirth. So, Becky was a, she was a bad fighter, and she's kind of taking a different approach, and I don't know if that was good enough. So with that being said, I'm going to kind of just go down the list. I have a list, the 6 matches, and then we'll go ahead and kind of maybe recap the potential matches that could still happen.
Yep.
In this first one here, though, I am just lost. And that is going to be Liv Morgan versus Carmella. That all portrayed last night on SmackDown, a matter of fact,
Yes.
where Liv had to defeat Zelina Vega to get Carmella at Extreme Rules. But other than that, I don't see.
Doesn't make sense.
I mean, this is a good match for a SmackDown. Maybe for this coming up SmackDown. This is a great match for a house show, but there's nothing built on it. I mean, this is something that they just threw out of the water, and I feel like this match is in there just to put a match in.
A filler.
And it's like, there's no stipulation to it. I think that if this match is going to have to go down, I mean, if it's going to be anything I want to watch, there's going to have to be a stipulation.
Yes.
Okay, I guess from my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Carmella over the last couple of weeks is coming into SmackDown and saying that she's the most beautiful woman in WWE, and Liv Morgan wants to shut that up.
Right.
But that's not enough to feed for Extreme Rules. Maybe Crown Jewel. I don't even think so either. But SmackDown, yes, put on SmackDown. Shoot, bring back main event and make. You see, one thing, and I know I'm going to get sidetracked here for a minute. They had a main event, for WWE for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
That was all the undercards, those dark matches you put on a main event. I thought main event, you should have a main event match. Have a regular show, right? All your undercards, Heath Slater, Jinder Mahal at the time, the Lucha Dragons, all that stuff. And then have like your IC and USA title. Have matches. Like bigger matches that's not worth being on Raw or SmackDown, but worth enough to have its own spotlight.
Right.
But anyways, that's just a side note. But this is not a pay-per-view match whatsoever. I'm very disappointed.
Maybe a pre-show match.
Doesn't even belong in the kickoff. This is the same type of match that Big E and Baron Corbin had at SummerSlam. Okay, which was announced on SummerSlam. Right? It wasn't advertised prior to that, which did not need to happen whatsoever. It was a wasted, that Baron Corbin, Big E, whole Money in the Bank contract stealing and all that little drama for 2-3 weeks was nothing, because Baron Corbin loses the Money in the Bank contract again, and then they just drop it off the end of the earth, which I still preach that Baron Corbin should have kept it and cashed it in. It would have been much better entertainment for me. But you know what? I can't. You still got to give credit where credit's due. Big E won the. I just think there should have been a better way for him to win. Right. See, I mean, just hypothetical. If Baron Corbin cashed in on, let's say he entered himself as that triple threat, that John Cena Roman Reigns match. Let's say he cashed it in during the match, like Seth Rollins did, became a triple threat match. Maybe he pins John Cena. And then Big E says, comes over the last 5 weeks or last 4 weeks and says, hey, listen, that's my title, right? That's my title opportunity. You stole the contract from me. Now we have a Baron Corbin and Big E match at Extreme Rules for that title. Wow. That's a better way. You not only bring Corbin and you build him up, but now you give the title back to Big E where it belongs.
I agree.
So that would have been a great 5-way. Like I said, I also, we're going to get into this too. Roman Reigns does not need that Universal Championship no more, especially if he's going to start a feud at Crown Jewel with Brock Lesnar. But Carmella, in this sense, that they didn't do any of that. Carmella and Liv Morgan, listen, I love the girls. I love them competing. It's going to be a good match. They put on great matches. It's not worth being a pay-per-view match. There's nothing built on it.
Right.
It's kind of sad because 2 out of the 3 women's matches, there's nothing built on it. We see the same thing in Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. We'll get into that here in a little bit.
And the thing is you have WWE taking off Liv Morgan for weeks and weeks, and then all of a sudden she comes back and all of a sudden in a match with Carmella. Why?
Yeah, both of these females have been in and out of WWE story writing for the past few months, and they don't even have a push. So I don't know what they're trying to get out of this. This is something, I mean, I understand you're trying to maybe see how they do in the spotlight because you're trying to move forward, but at least build the story up a little bit more. And I think that's another big concern coming into this episode or coming into this pay-per-view for the most part. Now, we get into United States Championship match, which is the second one I talked about here. This list is based off of the least favorite to the biggest match. So at the end of the show, we're talking about Roman Reigns and Finn Balor. Obviously, this pay-per-view is pointed out as this is SmackDown's brand show.
Right.
Okay. And we haven't seen that happen, for where they go back and forth between Raw and SmackDown ever since the draft. But it is a SmackDown-based show, but we have a Raw match here. That's Damian Priest versus Sheamus. Like I illustrated earlier in this program, Sheamus loses his title at Extreme Rules against Priest. When did WWE stop honoring the rematch clause to once a champion loses their match? They should automatically get a chance to defend or compete for that title either the very next night or the next pay-per-view.
Right.
Instead, you had Sheamus in a moment 1 week, and I'm not forgetting about it because it was actually impressive. They spent a whole hour and a half on a segment that meant nothing between Sheamus, McIntyre, and Bobby back in San Diego, right? The fallout of SummerSlam. We thought that Sheamus and Bobby was headed to Raw the next week to compete for each other. We thought that this was going to become a possible title match for Extreme Rules, which I'm still looking forward to seeing. But instead, Sheamus gets put down. Bobby goes on to try to get the tag titles. Sheamus gets put down with McIntyre for a couple weeks and then has to earn his way back in for the United States Championship match, which they had a great match at SummerSlam. I'm not discrediting their matches. As a matter of fact, Priest and Sheamus had one of the better matches at SummerSlam overall, the entire card.
Right.
But I'm not really buying seeing this match again. This is a Raw match. This is a Raw match that should have happened 2-3 weeks ago on Raw and then move forward.
Now, who do you want to win this match?
I think Sheamus needs to move forward. Priest is going to walk away.
I agree.
I think it's time for, listen, Sheamus has... I love Sheamus's character right now. He's, listen, I know injuries catch up to you and over time, and, he's getting older. Let him be at the top. He deserves to be at the top. He was at the top. Remember everything that Sheamus has done in his career. He beat Triple H at WrestleMania.
He beat John Cena.
He beat John Cena to become champion.
Right.
He won Money in the Bank at WrestleMania.
He beat Roman Reigns, too.
Beat Roman Reigns. There's a lot of accomplishments down here. Hey, I got my partner over here, Justin. Hi, Justin. Thank you for coming. Hey, thank you, Kay, for joining us on this live stream. We're just talking the fallout of Extreme Rules. Appreciate your compliments here. But yeah, Sheamus has so much accomplishments over the last decade, and from this Carrot Top, this carrot dipped in ranch character. I used to always tell my father, this is she dares to bring that comment up on YouTube Live. Maybe after the program, I'll get to you on that after the show. But I used to joke around with my father because he had flaming red hair, whiter than piece of paper. I thought they spray painted him that white when he first started off, Sheamus. And so my thing was, so we used to call him a carrot dipped in ranch.
Or as John Cena would say, human jar of mayonnaise.
Well, he had the red orange lid, so that's why I referred to that. So, but Sheamus is doing so much. He took a big step back. He joined the Bar after his top run. He joined the Bar. Didn't he not also join that with Wade Barrett and Rusev and McIntyre? I forgot the name, but this was after the core. Right, and Nexus and all that stuff.
I forgot that name too.
But they dominated. But he really took a backseat after his title runs, and I would like to see him come back and be at the top again. He can compete with Bobby Lashley. Don't forget, Bobby Lashley and Sheamus were in the WWE at the same time a decade ago. This was back when Bobby Lashley was on ECW.
Yeah.
Then he got brought up to SmackDown. Then he got moved over to Raw. Then this was also the same time that Bobby Lashley faced Umaga. Hair versus hair match with Trump and McMahon. Those were the good old days. But overall, this for me, it's not a selling point. And I mean, if there was better matches scheduled for Extreme Rules, I'm okay with it. But this is not a match I'm buying on. Priest walks away with the victory. Obviously, I think I'm buying on Priest. I'm buying on the U.S. movement. I just don't know who's next in line for Priest. I mean, I think Mick Foley even said it the best on that minute YouTube video bashing WWE. Karrion Kross, I mean, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Karrion Kross was outside WWE. Karrion Kross was a force to be reckoned with. He was a dominant character. They bring him in NXT as a dominant, great, but then they put him back into... You have him have some lame matches on Raw, and now you're into, where do you want to go from him? I mean, you obviously watched the show. Where does Karrion Kross fit? How are you going to build him up? You're going to have to put him on a title here soon, or else he ain't going to last much longer.
That's true.
But Damian and Karrion Kross, I would like to see that match. Not a Crown Jewel, no. That's not worth Crown Jewel. That's worth Survivor Series. That's a Survivor Series match. Bring back the old Karrion Kross. Get rid of the makeup and the helmet and all that crap that he's wearing now. Put him on. Bring back the old Karrion Kross. Bring back his manager, whatever her name was. I apologize, but man, bring him back up. I mean, WWE is gonna have to work a lot more to bring Kross back up. But it's at the same time, I would love to see that match.
He lost his momentum when he came on debut and he lost against Jeff Hardy.
Well, see, and I told you, I preach about this. The way that they went down was you should have kept him on NXT until he lost against Joe at NXT TakeOver 36, not 37, which I've been promoting. Thanks for no one correcting me. But 36. Justin's calling you out. He says that you're not talking as much as he is. But you should have kept him on NXT and then put him on Raw to debut the next night. And then just win. No?
I think so. Yeah, put the U.S. title on him.
But Priest and Sheamus, I don't know. We'll see what happens on that match. If there was better matches on the card, I'll be okay with it. But I mean, this card so far has already been a shot put down the drain.
Justin, I've been talking a lot more than you.
We're gonna have some rivalries here. Shoot. SmackDown Tag Team Champions Street Profits returned back about a month ago, and to save Finn Balor from a brutal attack. This leads up to they've been out of action for a little while, taking some breaks, I believe, in and out. I think Montez Ford got injured, so he got recovered. Great to see them back. But the Usos and the Street Profits for the SmackDown tag titles. Well, take first thoughts. Go ahead.
When did they become number one contenders? Like you were saying, all these other wrestlers had to work for their way, but all of a sudden they come back and.
I completely agree with that. And I do. You do got to ask, who were the number one contenders when you have Gable and Otis over there? Who else you got?
Ray and Dominic.
Okay. You also got. But that's the problem, though. That tag team division has died down so much.
Right.
So is Dominic and Ray worth being a tag team title opportunity? No, they lost at SummerSlam. They lost their chance. Dominic is a long ways away and he has a lot to learn from Ray before he could. When we talked, I mentioned this on the show a couple weeks ago or last week, whatever. Dominic is not a singles competitor. How much longer can Ray be in the spotlight? Ray's riding down to be, towards the end of his career, right? We all know that. He's a great person, but he's in it because of his son. But do you really think Dominic can be like his father and be a singles competitor?
I don't think so.
At least, they're not building him up to be.
Week after week, he's losing against Sami Zayn.
Right, you're not building him. When they put him against Seth Rollins and he beat Seth Rollins, you should have kept that on him. And now you're trying to take this teaching moment. It kind of feels like the starting pitchers for baseball. So if you ever bring a rookie pitcher up to the majors to pitch, the idea, or any rookie player, they normally come up to the major leagues. They play. And then they're on a hot streak because they're fresh meat. They're fresh. They don't. You're seeing these guys play for the very first time. They're on. We've seen this. There's guys like Hunter Renfroe over in Boston. Jankowski did this. Just players that I know that used to play for the Padres because I follow them often. But when you come up to the majors, right, to the big leagues, you come up, hot and fired and playing very well.
Right.
But after that 3-4 months goes, you kind of hit a cold wall. And it's kind of that moment where you have to kind of come back down to the minors to refix yourself, right? So Dominic comes in here and he beats Seth Rollins. He has a great first start.
Yep.
This is that die period. And a lot of people don't make it out of the die period. But can Dominic do that? So there's other than that, Gable and Otis is not tag team worthy yet. You can't have two heels going against each other.
Right.
Shinsuke and Rick Boog, but Rick has Shinsuke has the IC title. Right. I know that they were talking about possibly the IC championship being defended at Extreme Rules, but I think that's going to be moved to Friday Night SmackDown. But we don't know yet, right? They change it every day. It doesn't never make sense.
That's true.
But right now, the Street Profits are the only team in the SmackDown's division that can be worthy enough contenders for tag team action.
My problem is, why are they different from everybody else?
But who else do you got though?
Right.
I guess that's my big thing is who else do you have in the tag team division? You got to bring people up, but they got rid of so many people from that roster. The Revival was on SmackDown. They got rid of them, and that's the tag team that you lost. So there's just nobody right now that they're moving up. And then, listen, I love to watch the Usos and Street Profits. I think they're going to be a really good match.
Oh, yeah.
They work well in the ring. I love watching them each and every week in the ring. But moving forward, who is ready to kind of fill in to Street Profits? If the Street Profits walk away as champion, Who do you see? What, Gable and Otis? Okay, I can see that, maybe. But who else? I mean, you don't have anyone else right now that's, we talk about, read online, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens' career, contracts are coming up at the end of the year. I would love to see them tag again. I would love to see the Sami Zayn go back to Sami Zayn. I would love to see Kevin and Sami Zayn have a feud, just like what Sheamus and Cesaro went through when they had the best out of 7, I think, or best out of 5.
Yeah.
And then they end up getting tagged to each other. And that's how the bar was created. I would love to see Sami and Kevin have a best out of 5 series. TLC, they tell the perfect story, right? Longtime friends. You never get tired of their matches.
Right.
And then tag winning tag titles. You need to, and just, I know this is on the side note, but you need to do whatever, WWE needs to do whatever they can to keep Kevin and to keep Sami on that roster. And the way that they're doing it now, Kevin's commentating and it's out for action. Where's Kevin at? Why isn't he not competing?
Right.
So, but.
He competed yesterday and he lost. It wasn't even a match.
Baron Corbin? I don't know. They're all over the place with everything, but. Back on track. Usos, Street Profits. I think this is going to be a decent match for. This is the only tag match there is. But I think here's what I say: it needs to be a stipulation match.
Right.
There has to be this is when you talk about Carmella and Liv Morgan needs to be a stipulation match. This needs to be a stipulation match. But steel cage?
Maybe Lisa goes to Raw.
No, because that's too obvious. You got the draft coming up at the beginning of the month. I like to see a steel cage. I like to see tables match.
Tables match, yeah. Elimination tables match.
No, not elimination tables. Just a regular tables match. Tag table.
See, a handicap match. If it was elimination.
Yeah, right. Knockout forward and then have that to happen.
My question is, who are you choosing to win?
The Usos are part of the tribal, tribal chief. They are starting to have some issues with Brock and, Finn Balor and all that stuff. It's going to get very personal, very quick. And if WWE doesn't have this put together properly, it could be a difference between a huge success and a chaotic mess. And if it's a chaotic mess, I wouldn't watch it. I want the Usos to lose because I want them to get personal with Brock Lesnar and get Brock Lesnar and the entire Samoan family going after each other. Brock can handle them.
Oh, yeah.
So, but you push. Here's the thing. I'm always a big favorite to pushing up your new talent. You put the titles on the Street Profits. And now, like I said, just like Roman Reigns doesn't need the title to establish himself, you already have a dominant force in the Tribal Chief and the Usos and everyone, right? Get the titles off of them. They're still telling great storylines down the road and have them focus all on Brock Lesnar.
All right. So, my opinion is I would want somehow Brock Lesnar to, cost him the titles. That way, the Roman and Brock.
That's a way to do it. Yeah, there's ways to do it, but overall, though, I think it's time to get the titles off the Usos. I know they just won it, but do you need to have? You're starting to lose order in the Usos and Roman. And this is to really just chaotically go things. I tell Justin all the time, I think I've had very well discussions with you about this. Roman Reigns and the Usos have been in the industry for a little while now. They've already had some great matches. All the Usos did with the New Day, and the tag teams prior to that. Roman Reigns has some great matches with Brock, has some great matches with, John Cena, Undertaker, Goldberg, or not Goldberg yet, but hopefully soon. But he's had some great matches to solidify himself. Triple H, right? He's already established himself as the chief, as the head of the table. He's the face of the company right now, right? You don't need to get the title off of him. A title is not making his name. the matches that he has. He already has the name.
Yeah.
Right? He already has the name. What was that? From your phone?
My phone is talking to us.
Oh. Another guest host, bring in the phone. Maybe your phone has some good insights about what they should do with Roman. But see, they have already established themselves. And it's time you put titles on people who need to establish themselves.
Exactly.
And there's guys like Baron Corbin. He's already paid for his punishment long enough, right? Ever since he did that thing a couple years ago that cost him the Money in the Bank contract that failed to cash in, he's already paid his price.
Right.
And he should be now looking for that title. What you're also doing is lowering the standard of the title now. So bring the title back. So, like, for example, the Street Profits. Then allow Chad Gable and Otis go after it. Bring up some new guys, go after it, right? And that way you have some of these. Now you're still putting the title in the mix, but still keeping the fame power. And I will get more into what I'm trying to say with Roman Reigns, because I want to talk about the tag team division. So I say Street Profits over the Usos. I wouldn't mind watching Brock Lesnar do something, but maybe he'll do something at the end of the night with Roman.
I'm picking the Usos to win.
Okay. Well, we'll come back and let you know.
Yeah.
Raw Women's Championship. I've mentioned this.
Wait for this match.
Are you really? So, when they were doing the shows, and they may have to go back to this maybe at some point this year because of COVID spikes, but when they were doing before the fans, they were able. Creativity was off the table. Alexa Bliss, Bray Wyatt was just doing their things. You could record after and after. Did you watch? And I think it was not this past Monday, but the previous Monday, where Alexa Bliss did a recording from the Playhouse. It was a moment pause for Charlotte Flair to say something, which she didn't know what to say. I think she forgot her lines.
Yeah.
And then while she was talking, Alexa Bliss starts talking again. Two different conversations between Charlotte and Alexa, because Alexa was inviting her to the Playhouse. Charlotte says something that has nothing to do with the Playhouse. Then in the middle of what she's saying, Alexa cuts her off, says, "Hey, I'll bring the Playhouse to you." That's when the lights flicker, and then she ends up in the ring. But this is not a bad match. Okay, obviously they're moving Rhea Ripley and Nikki H away to tag team spots. I don't get that whatsoever. Rhea Ripley's been fascinated on the Raw Women's Championship, and you're really putting her in a bad direction. Nikki, this is not no Drake Maverick and whatever the guy's name was, Killian Dane, right?
Yeah.
There's not no situation in that. I don't know where the putting up with that is, but Charlotte Flair is now riding a solo seat with the Raw Women's Champion. And it's great. Get the title back on her. That's fine. I know she's trying to establish herself with Ric Flair, and it's all because they gave her the Flair's name.
Right.
Remember when she first started off in NXT, she was just Charlotte. Then she brought up to Raw, and they affiliated her with Ric Flair. I think it was Michael Cole, Corey Graves said Flair. That's when they had to stick with it.
Right.
And that's fine. You need a Ric Flair in women's wrestling. I mean, Mae Young and, the fabulous Moolah could only do so much. This is the evolution of women. This is how you have to do it. But they really downgraded. But where does Alexa Bliss fit in this? Because just remember SummerSlam, which is yet again another match she had with Eva Marie that shouldn't have happened on the SummerSlam. She wins it. She beats Eva Marie, and now she's going out to the Raw Women's title. She has nothing comparison in between to actually earn that opportunity.
Right. Then again, like we've been saying, where's her number one contenders match?
It's not even about number one contenders match, but it's the storyline to get to it. See, they don't tell a storyline to get to it. So Alexa Bliss goes from picking off Eva Marie, who was at the bottom of the totem pole, to picking off Charlotte Flair. but there's no one in between. Normally, if you're like, when you're doing something like this, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how you end up with the championship. But they went from bottom to the top in 4 weeks of nothing in between.
Right.
I would love to see Alexa Bliss win. I don't think it's going to happen this week. I could see her winning at Survivor Series. I would love to see how creative WWE could take the next 3 weeks or next 3 months between Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. We talk about the tag team division and not having enough, and being shot. What about the women's division? Hasn't that died down quite some since, COVID, I guess you could presume. I mean, because Raw, you see Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax, Nikki ASH, Shayna Baszler. Those are only, Natalya, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss. That's it. Tamina, but half of them, majority of them, are now on tag team sides, right? So that gets away from Charlotte. Eva Marie and Doudrop, I don't know what they're doing, but that's not a championship match. So who is Charlotte Flair going to find her opponents?
Right.
She set the standard so high. Alexa Bliss, you're going to have Doudrop go after Charlotte Flair? Maybe? And then you import, like, Nia Jax had this nice little run a couple weeks ago, taking away from the tag team situation to face Charlotte Flair and beat her. And then everyone thought maybe she was going to be the next person in line. I would like to see her the next person in line. But then they moved away from that to go back to Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss.
Right.
So there's no organization. And, I don't know what you're trying to do here. You need to be able to, you can mix up the tag team and the singles competitors as long as the storyline stays separate. Right. Or if they mingle together, they are smooth and they correspond the right direction. I loved watching, I don't know how much I appreciate watching SmackDown back in 08, 09, 10. Because that's how smooth things were. Right. They were able to take the storylines and mingle them together. They're trying to do that, and they're not going anywhere with it. Like, Charlotte and Nia Jax, people want to see still. Nia needs that reinvention of herself. Shayna Baszler needs to get off of Nia and start competing and being the badass she was in NXT.
Right.
So maybe they're going head over heels too much with this match.
Now, question is I don't know if you watched Dark Side of the Ring this past week.
I have not. Not yet.
Flair is in big time trouble. Is WWE gonna punish Charlotte for what Ric Flair did?
We knew prior to Dark Side of the Ring, and I haven't watched it, but we knew a lot of the scandals that Ric Flair did back in the day, and he still does them today. Okay, he came out on NWA a couple weeks ago admitting to some of the things he did. But Ric Flair is a whole nother, so will you punish Charlotte Flair because of Ric Flair's actions? I say no. And here's why. Because you've already given Ric Flair 2 Hall of Fame titles.
Right.
And still Chris Benoit done what he did, and he never got entered into the Hall of Fame. So unless you're going to now put Chris Benoit into the Hall of Fame, Ric Flair's Ric Flair. He's going to sell seats. What about, I think I bashed on Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I hate Hulk Hogan. I absolutely hate it. There was I think last week, and I think I still have it here on my phone. Last week, Hulk Hogan, there was tweets posted out. Did you see that?
I did not.
This was a tweet by Alan. It's true. So these are why Hulk Hogan, the wrestler, and I quote, okay, I want to quote this. The wrestler director Darren Aronofsky offered him a lead role 3 times. Hogan claims he turned it down. He didn't deserve it. Aronofsky categorized, he basically denies ever offering Hogan a lead role into his films. Here's some other ones that was notable to mention here. Hogan, he was an all-state pitcher in high school, that he was scouted by both the Yankees and the Cincinnati Reds. This is coming from Hogan. Okay, he claims that he was a all-state pitcher in high school, that he was scouted by the Reds and the Yankees. Okay, but due to an injury was preventing him to sign to either team. Hogan claims that he was the first person to notice Kevin Owens' potential. He said, and I quote, "Well, I hated to brag about it, but I am the first person to point a finger at Kevin Owens. After a decade of solid work in the Indies," which is a lie. Hogan starred in Mr. Nanny and Santa with Muscles. Hogan claims he wrote both scripts entirely, only to have his writing credits stolen by him from him by the Disasterly Writers Guild. This is Hogan. Yeah. Hogan says he used to fight pride fighters in the 70s. He used to fight pride fighters, like the Pride Fighter Championship organization. Mm-hmm. That was not founded until 97. Oh. So how do you claim you're fighting certain people, part of an organization that wasn't, in the 70s and wasn't invented until the, 90s? So here's one thing I always hate the most. This one really got to me too. Hogan claims that he was the first ever person to slam Andre. Claimed that Andre weighed 600 pounds when Hogan body slammed him, and he lied that Andre died a few days after the slam. Andre was not 600 pounds at the time of the slam. Hogan was not the first person who ever slammed Andre. And obviously, like you said, he did not die. So listen, there's a lot of, okay, well, how about this one? Hulk Hogan claimed that he was asked to join a startup company known as UFC. While UFC was was not nearly as popular as it was today, Hogan said he wouldn't have joined because guys get beat up when fights should be stopped. While he was in WWE, Hogan said that the pay-per-view bout between himself and Mike Tyson was supposed to be commenced. Hogan's excuse was to why it didn't happen. Tyson was too scared. Hogan tells media that Tyson was too scared to face him at WCW pay-per-view.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense.
Makes no sense.
Bad on the planet.
Yeah. Here's a good one here too. Hogan did claim that back in his heyday, he wrestled 400 days a year. Hold on. Listen to this. Hogan claims that since he traveled so frequently between the United States and Japan back in the day, right, that time difference made it 400 days possible. So basically, you would go have a Japan, the time are different. So you go fight in Japan, it's tomorrow. Come back here, it's still tomorrow. It's today, right? So let's say, the 18th, he would go fight, it would be the 19th. Well, then he flies back over and still be the 19th in U.S. But that's not, still not logical, okay? So the thing is you have guys like Hogan, and you still give him the spotlight. Ric Flair did his own things. I get it. He wasn't the cleanest person. That's why he was named the dirtiest player of the game. Right. He took it. He took it with all respect. Charlotte Flair should not be criticized for, he's doing things. I mean, if that's the case, then what, the newly debuted of Rick Steiner's son should be commenced for what, Rick's performance or Scott's performance in that case, because Scott's turned down his name so many times. I mean, he's been he's digged himself at the grave.
So who you picking for this match?
I'm saying Charlotte. I want to see, the reason I'm saying Charlotte is because I want to see this next month. Who is in line to face Charlotte Flair? I want to see Charlotte Flair next 3 months. with Alexa Bliss. And I want them to get creative and get Lily, get her involved a little bit more. See what the creative team can do to get her involved.
I am going to take Alexa Bliss. Just because, Crown Jewels, overseas, they have, where the rules are that women can't wrestle on the pay-per-view.
But they've already broken that.
Right. But I see Alexa Bliss winning, going on to Survivor Series to face Becky Lynch.
2 champions. Let's not forget about the WWE draft that's coming up at the beginning of the month. Okay, SmackDown. I was watching SmackDown last night. I think I pointed this out to you last night. They promoted the draft starting this Friday.
Yeah.
Which is not true.
No.
It starts not this coming up Friday, but the next Friday. The Friday,
October.
the following out Extreme Rules.
Right.
And they promoted it starting next Friday. Mm-hmm. And it goes into the following Monday. So it's a SmackDown. I think a lot of these matches are scheduled because of what's going to happen in the draft. We wanted to see Bobby and Roman go at it. Put Bobby or Roman on the same brand. One without the title. You don't need a title to tell that story. It's already a story in the making.
Yep. And I don't know if you've seen it, but SmackDown kind of spoiled a draft spoiler.
Well, I mean, you spoiled a draft spoiler when it came to Big E.
They announced that Drew McIntyre will be facing Roman Reigns on October 1st.
So
Universal title.
Here's the thing. Here's what I want to also point out. You have, we talked about some of the matches, right? Big E, the champions and champions. That's because of the draft. Remember that. They have an upcoming match, 6-man tag match, I think you told me, this coming up Monday between the New Day and Roman Reigns and the Usos on Raw. This is because of the draft. Before they separate everything again, they're going to take the next 2 weeks and bring them back. Right? So, but the draft is coming up October 1st. We'll get that promotion a little bit later. I'm talking about later in another episode.
Yeah.
But I'm going Charlotte over Flair, over Alexa. You're going Alexa.
With that again.
There's just no clear path to where they're going though. SmackDown Women's Championship here.
Okay, we started on this one.
All right, let's go to the next one. SmackDown Women's Championship. Becky Lynch will defend her title against the former reigning defending champion, Bianca Belair.
Yep.
I'm excited about this match. If it's going to live up to its potential. We want to see Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair in a fight.
Yes.
We want to see the old Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair in a fight. Right?
Right.
But if Becky Lynch, the person who's been backing out of everything, as her new persona, comes to lengthen this next Sunday, wasted the next 5 weeks, just like everything else in WWE.
Like, what the heck happened to her?
It's a new character. It is a new character for Becky Lynch. They're trying to get her into a new heel character. I say, which is more like a more glamorous character, more, hey, I'm flashy and all this stuff. I'm a badass. I'm a hood person. You know what I'm saying? Becky's on and Lynch are on two sides of the streets, and let's see them clash. No, Becky Lynch is presenting a heel character.
Right. And
the only thing I hate about it is that you could have kept the heel character, but keep her a fighting heel character. Heel character.
And just like you said, she went from going toe-to-toe with Ronda Rousey to leaving, having a child, coming back, and basically being a coward.
Oh, and listen, I get it. SummerSlam for Bianca Belair. This is why, you're selling this so perfectly because Becky Lynch came back and you wanted her. Even the win at SummerSlam was a cheerful moment. Mm-hmm. But now you got to get Becky, hey, we got to get ourselves into a heel mode. right? This is how you're doing it. And I don't think it's not paying off. Everyone so likes Becky Lynch. It's going to take time. I get it, but this is where they're headed to. So prepare to start hating Becky Lynch, but I think she has to be more creative in how she's going to be, portray that heel character. Maybe win by doing something dirty at Extreme Rules. But I like the promotion that Bianca has. The only thing I think I hated the most about this is about the second week, Becky Lynch comes out and tells everyone that Bianca backed out. She could not stand to go toe-to-toe with her in the ring, which was far from the truth. And so for me, I want to see this match, but we know. You know as well as I know, Becky Lynch is walking out.
Yeah.
Okay. You got Charlotte, Becky. Hell, they may switch sides. I don't know. Draft comes. But Becky is going to retain her title at Extreme Rules.
Do you think it'll be a pinfall?
No.
I think Becky will win by.
It won't be submission. You will not get Becky or Bianca Belair to submit. I don't think you will have that happen right here, right now. I could see her doing something and getting caught, disqualifying herself.
Yes.
Or do something in favor her in the win. Right, where she will still pick up the pinfall.
Right.
But do something in that way. But Becky Lynch over Bianca Belair.
Yes.
But I still like this match. As long as it becomes a fight. If it was a fight for most of the match, then I'm happy.
And not a 30-second match.
Well, it's not going to be a 30-second match, but if it was a coward fight where Becky Lynch is running away from Bianca, whatever, then no. But if this is an actual fight that people want to see, then that's fine. Because you may not see this again. With the draft rank coming up, Bianca may go to Raw or vice versa, and you may not ever see this again. So, we've had a match card. There's only been 6. We've been stretching this out because, the 6 matches, possible matches coming up here before we even get into that, because we got a couple more things we want to cover. I want to come out here while we're on this live. Hopefully everything is still up and running smoothly. I want to give a quick shout out to StreamYard, who has been a studio that I've been working with ever since from day one. I know it's only been a month, but they have been a big supportive of the studio. It makes the process easy. I was just kind of showing you how everything goes. I got everything that pops up, the line down below, our logo up there in the corner. I can see the comments when we go live. We had some from Courtney earlier. Justin posted. Kay posted also. So thank you for commenting. So StreamYard is the place to go. So I'd like to thank them for at least giving this foundation to start this studio. I also would like to take this time too. We have Extreme Rules this month, next Sunday. We have Crown Jewels in October 21st. And exactly 30 days from there, we have Survivor Series, November 21st. WWE Draft coming up October 1st as well. So you want to tune into that. I also want to just take this time again and promote. Trey has been giving us a lot of great content, a lot of promotion on TikTok, on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook. I got Facebook. So you could go down Facebook, the JJ Talk Show on Facebook, and then on YouTube. If you haven't liked, share, subscribe yet, the J&J Talk Show on YouTube. Now, come over to our channel, subscribe to the channel, like every video that you watch, please. It helps us out a lot. Leave us a comment. Let us know how we could be better at what we're doing. If you guys want to see a more diverse show. And then also share it, because even if you don't like the product or you don't view the product, if you know someone that likes the product or can view the product, share it to the next person. So do all that. Head to our page. We cover NFL, baseball, other sports, college football, WWE, obviously. Hopefully, as we progress, what AEW, a lot of people want to go up to. So I want to go ahead and invite you over. Come join us, because we have a bunch more content. Also tomorrow night, also another episode of the J&J Talk Show right there, where we break down the week of Raw. So that being said, predictions, possible matches heading to Extreme Rules. We talked about, we read this morning about Bobby Lashley and Big E's rematch.
Yep.
Okay, I can see that. I don't know what if they may just drop it. I don't know if Bobby's hurt, at all. They may drop that. What about AJ and Omos versus RK Bro?
That might happen.
I mean, if you're pushing to Crown Jewel, and I still believe that Omos and AJ needs to start splitting up, and being Omos from the other side of the country, he should probably be going to Crown Jewel facing AJ Styles in a one-on-one match. This is where it starts, right? Because then you have 4 weeks to plan for that match. I also read Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre again.
I'm tired of that
match. I'm not tired of it, but last 4 weeks they take Drew and they put him in the U.S. talk, right, with Bobby, and then just last week on Raw, Veer and
Shanky.
Yeah, they go after McIntyre. So what's going on? You can't spend 3 weeks out of it and then revisit an old scene. It has to be leading up. There's nothing leading up to Extreme Rules for them. Right. But I feel like that's going to be a card if they don't push Bobby and Big E, or they don't push AJ and Omos. And that may be a card match as a fill-in. Because you only got 6 matches up there. You got to at least have one more, I think. You got to promote coming up this week. And I think that's coming from Raw. There's only 2 matches for Raw, 4 matches for SmackDown. I think you get one more for Raw.
And I've also heard that they might be doing the World Tag Team Championship match.
On Raw, though?
For the pay-per-view.
Right, so Omos and AJ, right, versus...
No, I'm talking about the women's.
Oh, the women's, right. Natalia and Tamina versus Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH.
Yes.
I'd rather get rid of Liv Morgan and Carmella, put that one right there in that spot, and then add the Raw tag team, men's tag team championships as well on that one.
I agree.
So still plenty other matches that could be considered into this Extreme Rules match card, but those are ones you have to watch this week's WWE to find out, because like I said, I figure one of them are going to be in there, but I don't know which one. So you'll have to watch and find out, and then hopefully we could have a better idea of what the card looks at by sometime middle of this week. If Raw announces a match, then that's going to be it. SmackDown's not going to have another match.
Right.
Which leads us into our last topic. WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns and Finn Balor. Not the Finn Balor, the Demon. The Demon. The persona. The alter ego of Finn Balor. And, this is the main event because this is the only match. This is the only match that I'm really excited to watch.
Exactly.
Because Finn Balor's finally getting his chance to fight Roman Reigns. He did before SummerSlam. John Cena was in the middle of it. The other problem is, though, he's getting a chance now, but Brock's in the middle of it. And he's not getting his time back. But I would like to see the title go on Finn. And remember, he never lost the title back in 2016.
Yep, he never did.
And so he's never really gotten a proper title opportunity since then. And so we talked about, you kind of take a step back. Roman's going for Brock. It's because Roman and Brock, Paul Heyman's in the middle. Right. Okay? That's the story alone. Finn Balor takes a step back from SmackDown, or takes the leap, wins the title again. Then he could reissue feuds. You could have feuds with Dolph. You could have feuds with Baron Corbin, Kevin Owens. What about Finn Balor and Kevin Owens, TLC?
Would be nice.
Right? I mean, I think people want that match. We haven't seen that match happen. Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn. Finn Balor versus Dominic. Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. Finn Balor versus Edge. So many possibilities compared to if Roman Reigns continues holding that title. I know we're talking about the draft coming up at the beginning of the month. We have to stay optimistic because we don't know what is to happen with the draft and who's going where. But if you still kept everyone on SmackDown like they are now, putting the title, even if you put the title on Baron Corbin, you're putting the title on a guy other than Roman Reigns, promotes great other potential matches that you want to watch, because now it refers back to me when they are all growing up in NXT. Remember Balor and Corbin, NXT. Balor and Kevin Owens, NXT. Balor and Sami Zayn, NXT. Right? And I think I kind of described this a little bit back on one of my episodes. But this is the way SmackDown over a decade ago worked. You had your title storyline. You had, as your one main card, you had your another main card storyline. So let's say you had JBL going after Rey Mysterio, or one of those two, right? Mm-hmm. That's your title. Undertaker and Booker T, non-title, but they still told a story. Then you had your US or IC title, then your tag, and then your women's. And then along there, you fit in one more other storyline to fit in between, whether it's another tag team rival, whether it's another title, maybe like for IC title, right? That's your SmackDown. You went back and forth. You could mix these two a little bit, but you keep them separate. You mix the main title and the non-main title. You can mix them. You put them down on the IC title. And then you can take these non-main title and the US or IC title, mix them a little bit, right? So you had that walk line, right? You went down the chain. SmackDown has that. At least they had the potential for that, right? And that kept where you didn't have to tell the story each and every week. You didn't have to have Roman Reigns every week. Right? You didn't have to have ABL be on Raw, SmackDown each and every week. No, you could have Undertaker be the main event. Right? You could have the tag titles be the main event. Okay, give them a week off. Right. And it slowed down the storytelling like NXT does, but it also keeps everything going. Right. So by taking the title off of Roman Reigns, putting it on Finn Balor, you allowed that opportunity because you still have Brock and Roman on that. And then you have Finn Balor right there. But I think we're trying to analyze this, but the draft is coming up.
Right. Now, do you think Brock Lesnar will get involved with this match?
Brock Lesnar has to get involved. Let me ask you, is Brock Lesnar getting involved?
I don't know if he will get involved, but I think somehow Paul Heyman will betray Roman and help Finn Balor win.
Yes and no. Brock Lesnar may get involved with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman may be distracted by Brock Lesnar, which then maybe distracts Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman does not go against Roman Reigns right now. When Brock and Roman meet at Crown Jewel, and then Paul has to make that decision, it may not even be at Crown Jewel. They may have another match at Survivor Series. When they do that, whenever they cross the line, and Paul has to choose, that's when he's going to betray Roman Reigns during the match. I mean, I can see it happening, but I can see what you're saying is happening. But I mean, is that better? Is it not a better picture? I know it's too cliche and casual. I know you already see it. No. But is that not a better picture? Because sometimes, like I said, if it's not broken, and it worked in the past, if it works, remember when Paul Bearer turned against The Undertaker?
Yep.
During Kane and Undertaker match?
Yep.
It works. But even though you know it's going to work, just allow it to work. Because it still works. If you try to do something that may not work, like Mick Foley says, if it's not broken, don't fix it. That storyline, that way it goes, how you play that out, it is not broken. It never was. Don't try to fix it. Let it happen. Right?
Yeah.
So, in my retrospect opinion, I'm saying the Demon comes away with this championship.
I agree.
I say it's going to come from a distraction from Paul Heyman or Brock Lesnar, but he will win this championship one way or the other. And it's not to take Roman Reigns out of the main picture, but it's to separate him from the title. Right. So that as this draft comes down the road, they could push on more towards it. Because that title is blue. You keep it on the blue brand. I think Finn Balor stays on the blue brand. They could also move Roman and Brock to Raw and get more audience to go to Raw now. I mean, that would be a nice setup there. But now, because we've seen this over and over again, Raw has 3 hours and an hour and a half of that's taken up by 2 to 3 competitors. Right? So it's boring. It's not something you want to watch. We had that turmoil match the other week. Took an hour and a half for 6 teams for nothing to happen. Right? Because they were supposed to get a Raw tag team title opportunity.
Right.
But then it turned into Bobby and Randy. And so they didn't really accomplish anything. So this all is somehow designed to lead up to the draft. Whatever they're planning on doing on October 1st to mix up the brands, which I think is needed, it's designed so that they can, do that. But title goes off for Roman. Is that the same for you?
I agree.
Title goes off for Roman.
Yeah.
But for the good reasons.
For good reasons. Yeah.
For the good reasons. Because I think you need to kind of level things out again, re-level things out. Talking about Edge being out for a couple months now. We know he's a part-timer, so maybe this writes off until the storyline needs to refresh itself. But I love Seth Rollins on SmackDown. Yeah. I think you keep Seth Rollins on SmackDown. I think you move Roman Reigns to Raw. That's another one. Maybe we have to talk about that. Do we need to do an episode for the WWE draft and cover that and who appears?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe a pre-limb and then a post-limb aftermath.
Yeah.
That's a whole 4-day extravaganza.
Right.
So, WWE Extreme Rules. September 26th. Next Sunday. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, kickoff show. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Extreme Rules. Not the greatest, I admit. We still probably have a match or two to fill in a bit later on this week. Hopefully, they could add some stipulations to some of these matches, which would make it interesting. The only match I'm really excited to watch is the Universal Championship match because there's so much going on in there. But expect if you want to pay attention to Usos and Street Profits is a good match because they just click in the ring.
Right.
They're so good. Becky and Bianca, as long as it's a fight, it's going to be a good match. Priest and Sheamus, you've already seen this match before. You're going to see it again. So if you like the match from SummerSlam, you'll see it once more. So tune in September 26th for Extreme Rules. Okay. And we'll go, and I think, depending, and not confirmed yet, Monday morning, we may have a Fallout episode for that. So tune into that. So, hey, listen, I appreciate you being on here. All the promotion you're doing for us, I appreciate. Keep on making those promotional videos. Please like his stuff, share him, give him just the much support. Head over onto my channel and all that stuff as we get more advanced in our technology and what we're seeing here. Like I said, tune us in tomorrow night where we go over the week of WWE. I will have more episodes throughout next week of coming up, of baseball, football, college NFL picks going up and everything like that. Also, by the way, I know we talk about wrestling. I don't see people doing it. Please head over to Facebook and join us on the football picks. Just pick your teams every game of the week. I got the Bengals beating the Bears. As long as Andy Dalton's playing. But there's some good matches on that. So maybe you'll see another episode tomorrow morning before our talk show, but maybe not. We'll see on that and how that goes. So, Trey, I appreciate you coming on. We're going to be doing this again. You're going to see a lot more of his face around here. So get used to it. And until tomorrow, I'm Justin. This is Trey. You're listening to the J&J Talk Show. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next time.